Just to recap where we're at, we've got several vector layers loaded, and I'm just going to show a little bit more what we can do with some of the symbology here. So I'll open up this newly created shapefile that we made and loaded of all of the different runes. To make them appear more easily, we can change the size. Now they default at 3. And I'm going to make them 7. I should enable them first so we can watch them. So you can see they're quite small. We make them nice and easy to see. Now we can also set labels to them. Okay. Each of these gives you a different type of control, which changes all the options over here. We'll leave the font alone for now. We're going to tell it to display the labels, the field containing the label. Alright. We'll tell it to put a buffer around it of 1 pixel, and we will apply that. Now to show you what the buffer does, we'll shut it off and apply it. Now just take a look in here and here. You can't really read it. We put the buffer label back on, and it makes it nice and easy to read. Now we can also change the position of the, so if we set these both to 0, they'll be centered right on the location. So if we offset it, and you can play around with this, it goes up and to the right. We can go negative, and that puts it below. I like it to be positive, so, or above and to the right in this case, so we'll put it there. And we can click done. Alright, and you can see there now we've got all of the runes from this populated places actually labeled and nicely shown. Now we're going to put on the major rivers. Again, they don't show up very nicely, so we will double click it to bring up the layer properties. We're going to set it to a unique value. Okay. Our classification field, we'll set it to description and classify. This is going to bring up all the different rivers. In case you didn't know that, you can always look at the attribute table, okay, and that will show you. So we've got either length or description. Now you can see that each river is made up of many, many different segments of lines. Okay? So what we can do, if we want to identify the rivers individually, is do this unique value. If we want to just set them all as one, we would give them a logical color for rivers, maybe make them stand out a little bit more. Okay, now when we add in the minor rivers, again they don't show well, but what we can do is we can set them thinner and lighter. Where's the nice blue? Nice light blue there. One of the things that you might want to do at times is save the color that you've created, and you can do that by grabbing the color and dragging it down to an empty spot down here. There's also other various ways that you can look at the color, and this is somewhat dependent upon your operating system. Okay, so now we've got a nice color. It's a thinner line, which should give us a nice result. And we can zoom in just to see how that's going to look. If we click on the attributes for layer properties for the major rivers, and this fill color we see is set to black. Let's try setting it to the blue, same as the rivers, and see what happens. And nothing. That's because we have no brush. Okay, so what we can do is we can go solid on the brush. I'll zoom in a little more, illustrate my point, which doesn't seem to be working too well so far. And why isn't this working? If we think about it, what are we working with? We're actually working with line vectors. Line vectors don't have a fill because they are simply lines. If we were working with the polygons, this would work. Okay? So if we switch to the Alaska one, and the fill style, we might want to set the color to something maybe more transparent. So we might want to go with a dense. Okay, we'll zoom out to the layer extents, or actually out to the full extent, I guess. That looks terrible. So we will change it back to solid.